Youorns. Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the YouOrns 10-minute take on Hull City 1, Watford 0. And Watford today had opportunities to actually score in this game, but they really did not take those chances because their end product betrayed them. We've seen this a lot on the road, particularly this season. You go back to the game against Queen's Park Rangers. You can go back many games, many games this season away from home where Watford's end product just isn't good enough. We saw this at Sheffield United at Bramall Lane in that game a few weeks back when Watford lost by the same 1-0 scoreline. Over and over again, the end product betrayed the Hornets, and that continued in this game on Saturday as Hull City ended up taking advantage of all of Watford's failures to get on the score sheet, and in the 25th minute scored the only goal of the game. And by the way, it was an ex-Watford employee by the name of Ozan Tufan who got the goal in this one. Kind of a poetic justice in some kind of strange way. It's kind of a reflection of Watford's season, the whole season long, where ex-Watford players or ex-Watford managers have gone on to other clubs to do bigger and better things. At least in the case of Hull, maybe not bigger and better things. Hull are one place below Watford in the table at the moment, but they did get one over on Watford today. Ozan Tufan in the 25th minute, scoring from the penalty spot. It was a mistake by the veteran Watford defender, Christian Kabasele, that really was the engineering principle of how Watford got into this spot in this game. He passed the ball, really not a great pass, to Ryan Andrews, and he was forced to try to clear it. And in trying to do so, he took down a Hull City player in the penalty box, and there is where the penalty came from. A sloppy defensive error from a veteran defender who really has years of experience to know that that was not the right kind of play to do in that situation. And up stepped Ozan Tufan, who did nothing at all at Watford in his time here, his very brief time here last season in the Premier League for Watford. And he ended up scoring the only goal. That penalty dispatched easy and coolly past Daniel Bachmann in the Watford goal. And Tufan, his 8th goal of the season for Hull, would you believe it? That's 8 more goals than he scored for Watford. And Hull City were on their way. Now, look, Hull generated some things, but they really didn't, I think, get anything else in this game. That there were a couple of opportunities that Hull had, perhaps, but generally speaking, Watford had a lot of opportunities to do something in this game, and they just did not take them. And it resembled a lot of what happened on Wednesday against Cardiff. This Watford side, more than enough talent on paper to get the job done, and they don't care enough to get the job done, and that's the story in this game. And Hull deservedly ran out 1-0 winners in the game. By the way, Watford should have had a penalty in the 63rd minute of play. It was blatant handball. Hull player with his arm out. The ball, it was very clear, hit his arm, and his arm was out. And it's not a natural position for his arm to be in that situation. And the referee, for reasons known only to him and the PGMOL, decided, no, we're not going to bother with this one. Now, if there was VAR, certainly would have been a penalty for Watford there. But the FAPGMOL, that has consistently bad officials, bad refs, continued their fine, upstanding reputation and did not give a penalty in this situation. It was clearly a penalty. 6 Watford players circled the referee, and to no avail. But that's not the reason why Watford did not win this game. It's not the reason that Watford lost this game. Their record on Saturdays, by the way, has been paltry. The last 30 games that Watford have played on a Saturday, they have only won 5 of those games. 5. And you can see why on the back of displays like the one at Queen's Park Rangers on a Saturday. You can see why off the back of displays like the one at Reading on a Saturday, at Sheffield United on a Saturday. You can see why Watford's record on Saturdays, the last 30 times they've played on those days, is so terrible. And you saw it today against a Hull City side that have got nothing to play for. You know, their position's comfortable. They're mid-table, and they're going to have another season in the second tier of English football. Liam Rossini has done a good job of that whole side. You know, he's come in, he's fit like a glove. He's brought an air of stability and he's good discipline. Liam Rossini does not mess about. He is bread and butter. He cares about the team. And, you know, he's a good manager and fair play to him. And Chris Wilder for Watford is a good manager. Now, these players that Watford have are not good enough. They're certainly not good enough to care about this. This is what we love. We love this shirt. We love this badge. And I would only wish that these players would love this badge. While they're here, play for this badge, play for this shirt. It means something to the fans. It means everything to the Watford supporter, that you show that you care and you play for this. And if you don't want to play for this, you can clear on, off, and out. You can clear off. Get out of our club. Players who don't care. We saw a lot of selfishness again in this game, second half. Watford chasing for the equalizer. And what did they do? Shoot the ball from the 18-yard line. Why? When you've got 3 or 4 Watford players in the box. You know, this is really unbecoming. A team that had every desire at the beginning of the season, we were told, to chase a automatic promotion spot. Every desire, we were told, that they were going to be promoted, and if not as champions, certainly automatic. And Watford finished nowhere near that. And they are done now. In terms of those who still think that they're mathematically alive, their goal difference is well inferior to the 6th placed team in the championship. And with 2 games to go, Watford are not scoring 7 goals to get in. And they're not winning 2 more games. They've not won more than 3 games at any point this season. And they've only won 3 games in a row once this season. They're not winning more than 2. I mean, they're not going to do this. We know that. So I think we can put to bed the playoffs now. It's finished. And as far as Watford's season is concerned, it too has been long finished. I think this season really, in earnest, was over for Watford at the end of last year in 2022, when they lost the game on Boxing Day against Millwall, and of course, the game against Swansea. Those 2 results told me right there that these players had given up. They really had. I mean, they won the game against Norwich to start the calendar year here in 2023. By the way, that's the only away victory they've had in 2023. That game on January 2nd at Carrow Road. Carrow Road, by the way, by the way, let me tell you, Norwich are horrible at home. I mean, Swansea beat them today 3-0 at Carrow Road. So it goes to tell you about that. So that really puts that result that Watford had in perspective. I think, at least, anyway. But the bottom line is that these players are selfish players. They don't play together as a team. Even though they had a lot more energy at points and at times today in this game against Hull, they reverted when the opportunities really came down to it, for the most part, to a lot of selfish football. They know they're not going to be here next season. They really understand that. The only bright spark and the bright spot for Watford in this particular contest was Ryan Andrews. He didn't have a great game. No one did on Wednesday against Cardiff. But Ryan Andrews today showed you the pedigree of a Watford player of the future and a Watford player of now, who wants to be at the club, who cares. He wants to ply his trade as a professional footballer because Ryan Andrews cares. Now, we need to have more players who do at this club. And it's very clear that the bulk of the players at this club, and we've said this over and over again now, do not care about playing football at Watford. They're just there to pick up a wage and go on to their next footballing destination. And that's exactly where we are now. I really wish that the season would have ended at the end of this game, but we've still got 2 more games to go here. And my call in the Friday Focus for these players to at least play for a sense of personal pride, well, my call went unheeded. And I can't say that I am very surprised about that. This has been the YouOrns 10-minute take.